Hello and welcome to this LSPDFR guide on how to create your own custom pursuits for LSPDFR as part of 686 callouts. I'm going to make this guide easy to follow, simple to understand, and quick. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to want is to have 686 callouts. So in version 2.1.2.0, so obviously future versions will have it as well. It was the update on the 11th of January in 2026. I introduced a new customs pursuit feature, which allows you to create your own pursuits, choose your vehicles, customize your pursuit speeds, all of that good stuff. And what you're going to want to do is to install 686 callouts. You can install it either from this public, the free version on lspdfr.com, or the early access version, which is on Ko-Fi. And so the customs pursuit feature was originally on early access, and it's now on the public version. So no matter where you're coming from, this video guide will make sense for your version. What you're going to want to do is to go to your GTA 5 folder, and then go to the plugins folder, and then go to the LSPDFR folder. So in here, you've got all your LSPDFR plugins. You can see I've got 686 callouts, but I also have Stop the Ped and Ultimate Backup, though they're not required. To begin, we're going to go inside the 686 callouts folder, and then go inside the data folder, and then go inside the pursuits folder. So you see I've got some other folders there that you might not have, for example, AI Voices or SWAT Raid, and that's because those are early access only features, and so they're only available on the Ko-Fi version. As long as you can get into this pursuits folder, you're good to go. What you see here is the template, or the sort of, the pursuit that I include as part of 686 callouts, which is a fast vehicle pursuit. Each pursuit that you create is going to be an XML file. So if you create 25 different pursuits with all their different vehicles, the different PEDs, the different weapons, you might end up with 25 different XML files here. And that's fine. You can create as many as you want to. But today we're going to be creating one new pursuit. So I'm going to copy the fast vehicle pursuit XML file by clicking it and then doing Control-C, or you can right click and copy it. And I'm then going to paste it by doing Control-V, or you can right click and do paste. And I'm going to rename this file to be something different. So I'm going to call this a slow vehicle pursuit. Just make sure that you kept the fact that it's an XML file. And then you can click enter and save. So we're going to now edit the slow vehicle pursuit, which doesn't sound very exciting, but you can do whatever you want. That's the glory of it. And so in this file, we have all these different customization options. It probably looks very daunting. I'm going to break it down. It's going to be really simple to edit and very simple to make your own changes and to make your own pursuit. So first of all, you might be thinking, well, what is it opened in? What is this? This is an XML file, and we've opened it using an app called Notepad++, which is like an XML editor. By default, you'll probably just have something called Notepad, which is a bit basic, and Notepad++ is free. And I would really recommend it because it color coordinates. It's got a great color scheme, so you can see all the things, all the different bits of information. Ultimately, what you edit it in doesn't really matter as long as you're editing the contents of the file, which is this. But if you do want Notepad++, I'll put it in the description. So to begin with, we've got the pursuit name and the pursuit message. And so the name and the message of the pursuit, of the call out, is what's going to come up when you're on patrol and you get a notification that a new call out comes in. So with this one, you're going to have a notification come up, and we're going to want the name to be slow vehicle pursuit. So I'm just going to edit this bit. I'm going to ignore the sort of the formatting, it's called C data and things. We're just going to actually edit the contents. And this is why it's quite good to use the basic fast vehicle pursuit file, because then you can see very clearly what text you can edit and what text you can't. It helps you differentiate. So this is going to be called a slow vehicle pursuit, and now we have the call out message. So we are going to write our own, and we're going to say that a slow vehicle has been spotted with a wanted driver. because actually we can choose if the driver is going to be wanted. And so what we're going to do now is I'm going to add some colors to the notification. So it's like you might see this in some other plugins that allow you this level of customization. So I want to have wanted in red. So I'm just going to add the red color code, which is a sort of squiggly line, the letter R, then a squiggly line. And then after wanted, I'm going to do squiggly line. I'm sure it's got a better name. W, squiggly line. And what that does is that it makes this text red, and then everything else is going to be back to normal, so white. We've now done the callout name and the callout message. Next up, we've got the difficulty setting. And so this is really important because it customizes the pursuit attribute, so basically the pursuit settings for LSPDFR. And you might be thinking, okay, well, what actually is that? So that's things such as the handling ability of the driver, the exhaustion intervals, and the surrender chances. So if the vehicle has a tyre burst, if the vehicle crashes, or if the vehicle is pitted, what's the chance that the suspect is going to surrender? And so all those things contribute to this difficulty setting. And what you can choose is between random, easy, medium, or hard. And I think I don't have to explain what they all mean. But for this slow vehicle pursuit, I'm going to make it quite easy. So I'm going to call it easy. And that means, for example, if we pit the vehicle, there's a higher chance that they're going to surrender. Next up, and probably one of the most fun settings to play with, is the speed of the pursuit. So obviously, when the vehicle is driving away from you and you're pursuing it, what speed is it going to do? You've got a minimum speed and a maximum speed. And this number, so you see here I've got 30 and 50, is measured in meters per second. So I will let you do your own conversions, but for example, a minimum speed of 30 meters per second is about 70 miles an hour and about 110 kilometers an hour. And so I'm going to probably do something a lot slower than that. I might do 10 meters per second, which is, I don't know, about 30 miles an hour, and maybe a maximum of 30. So that will be about 70 miles an hour or about 110 kilometers an hour. And obviously, the vehicle isn't always going to be within this speed limit or the speed range, but it's going to try its best to be. Next up, we can choose the vehicles of the pursuit. So this is actually what you're going to be pursuing. And the fun thing here is that obviously this fast vehicle pursuit that we're using had 4 vehicles. You can add as many as you want to, or you can just add 1. As long as the probability of a particular vehicle being chosen, they all add up to 100, which of course, the perfect probability. So in this case, there's 4 vehicles and each of them has a 25% chance. We're going to add a couple. So I'm going to call one, which is Granger. And I want one maybe which is Baller. So these are both SUVs. And actually, I only want 2. So I can just remove these 2 other vehicles, these 2 other vehicle lines. And I'm going to change the probability to 50 for both of them. So it adds up to 100. If you want to add any more, you can do the opposite. So you can copy the line for a vehicle. You could do a new line and you can add as many as you want. And obviously you would change the vehicle model. You would change the probability so they all add up to 100. But I only want 2. Next up, we've got the PED settings. And so this allows you to choose the different PED models for the driver and the passengers. The important thing to know here is that 686 callouts will try to choose, will go through every different PED model you have listed before spawning the same PED again. So I actually only want 2 PEDs, 2 PED models to choose from. So I'm going to have these. And again, there'll be a link in the description which allows you to see all the different PED models and the PED model names which go here. And essentially, if there were 2 people in this vehicle, one's going to be Hot Posh and one is going to be East SA. If there's going to be 3, then one of those PED models is obviously going to be repeated. But if there's 2, it will always choose 2 different PED models because it can. Again, if you want to add more PED models, you can. You can add 100, you could add 50, or you could just add 1. It really doesn't matter. Next up, we've got the passenger count. So this is how many passengers are going to be in the vehicle, excluding the driver. So if you have an SUV, I'm going to say, well, at minimum, I want 2 passengers, and at maximum, I want 3 passengers. If you've got, for example, you're doing a bus pursuit, you might be able to add 10, because that's how many seats a bus has. But again, it's up to you. And also, if you only want 1 passenger, you can do 1 for both. If you want 0 passengers, you can do 0 for both. Next up, you've got weapon behavior. And so there are 2 settings here that are weapon related. Number 1, does a passenger have a weapon? So that is passenger have weapons probability. And so in this case, that's 100, which means both passengers are going to have a weapon on them. If I change it to 50, it means that for each PED, or for each passenger, there is a 50% chance that they'll have a weapon. So I'm going to put 50. And next up, we've got passenger use weapons in vehicle probability. So you know when you do those pursuits and they actually shoot back at you, that is this setting. And so again, it could be 100, which means that for every passenger that has a weapon, they're going to be shooting it in the vehicle if they can. Or I might do 0. And therefore, I know that these passengers might have weapons. There's a 50% chance, but they're never actually going to use a weapon in the vehicle itself during the pursuit. So I'm going to put that to 0. Next up, we've got a list of weapons. And so a list of weapons is obviously what weapon you're going to give to the passengers. And so currently, I can see that there is a pistol and a micro SMG, both with a 50% chance. I actually want to add another weapon that they might have. And so I'm going to add a combat pistol. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this, new line, paste it, and I'm just going to change the weapon to be a combat pistol. And again, there'll be a link in the description which has all the weapon models in it. But obviously this probability now doesn't add up to 100 anymore. So I'm going to do 33, 33, 34. And that is basically means it's all the same probability, but there is a tiny likelihood, or there's a 1% chance more that they'll have a combat pistol. Again, if you want to, you can remove all the weapons, or if you want to and you want more weapons for them that they might have, you can add more and just make sure that the probability adds to 100. One thing to note is that not all weapons can be used in a vehicle. So when you're driving in a vehicle, you can't switch to your SMG normally and things like that. Or for example, an RPG. So obviously 686 callouts isn't going to stop you from giving it to them, but you just have to be mindful that some weapons could be used in a vehicle while they're driving or while they're a passenger, and some can't. And lastly, we've got the flags for the pursuit. So there's different flags. First of all, you've got the vehicle stolen probability. So what's the chance that the vehicle comes up as stolen when you do a records check? At the moment, that's 35%. I'm going to keep it at 35%. Next up, you've got whether the driver is over the alcohol limit. That's 50%. I actually don't want this slow vehicle pursuit to ever have a drunk driver, so I'm going to do 0. And after that, you have, is a driver using drugs? And again, I don't want that to be true, so I'm going to put it to 0. One thing to note about these 2 settings is that they are tied to stop the PED. And so if you have stopped the PED and you do a breathalyzer, it's going to show as not over the alcohol limit. So stop the PED is required for those 2. And lastly, we have occupant wanted probability. So that's a chance that any occupant in the vehicle is going to be wanted. And so it's calculated on a per occupant sort of process. So if you've got 1 occupant, there's a 50% chance. The next occupant has another 50% chance of being wanted, so on and so forth. If you remember, at the top, I said that the slow vehicle has been spotted with a wanted driver. So actually, I'm going to set this to 100. and that means that my driver is definitely going to be wanted when I check them. So that's it. That is how you create your own pursuit. I'm going to save this. And I'm now going to go in-game, and I'm going to see if I can get my slow vehicle pursuit to come up. Okay, so I'm now in-game, and I'm on duty. I'm not going to wait for the call. I'm going to force it, because that would be a while. And the way I'm going to do that is by going into the Rage console, by doing start callout, and then typing in custom pursuit. So if you're using something like a callout manager or that sort of thing, you'll see custom pursuit, and this chooses one of your XML files. So if I click enter, that's a fast vehicle pursuit. That's okay. I'm going to see if my slow vehicle pursuit comes up. There we go. I've got my slow vehicle pursuit, and I can accept it. It's created my callout. I know that vehicle is going to be a Baller or a Granger, and it's going to be slow. I'm not going to bother chasing it because I'll probably embarrass myself with my driving skills. But there you go. You've now got a pursuit callout, and once you go close to that vehicle, it will trigger a pursuit with all your settings that you set up. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that video. There we go. A slow vehicle has been spotted with a wanted driver. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that makes sense. It's a really exciting feature, and if you have any questions about it or you have any suggestions, please join my Discord server linked in the description. Other than that, I look forward to seeing some of the pursuits that you guys create, and thank you for watching.